The critical Bible chapter Ezekiel 38, which is considered to contain important prophecies about the end times, was a trending topic on Twitter. And the reasons for this are noteworthy in more ways than one. People were quick to point out frightening contemporary events that have been taking place this week, which has led some individuals to turn their attention to prophetic scripture. Before we get into the ramifications of the Bible, let's take a moment to review the recent worldwide events and occurrences that have been at the heart of curiosity. Hello, everyone, welcome back to Rapture World. In today's video, we are going to discuss the biblical end times upon us. Stay with us till the end of this video, so you don't miss out on any of this information. But before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell symbol so that you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. And let's get started. A growing compatibility between Russia and Iran. Embattled this week, Russian President Vladimir Putin made what was described as a rare overseas trip to Iran by the Washington Post. This came at a time when the conflict in Ukraine is continuing to drag on and tensions with the West are continuing to rise. The journey that Putin is taking is puzzling and concerning for several different reasons. To begin, a great number of countries, including the United States of America, do not have diplomatic relations with Russia and Iran. These relatively unconnected nations are all participants in that dynamic, as well as in their pursuit of dominance. In addition to this, according to CBN News, Putin's trip appears to signal deeper connections between the allies, as he visited with Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi before meeting with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. It is also impossible to overlook the fact that Putin's visit to Iran comes just after Vice President Joe Biden visited Israel, a country that Iran has frequently threatened. This is another truth that cannot be ignored. Concerns about Iran, which have persisted for a long time and for which there does not appear to be a workable solution in sight, were discussed by Biden and Israel. When you consider this, with the other impending disasters and happenings on a worldwide scale, there is a lot to talk about. The world is currently in a perilous state, which has prompted a great number of pastors and other experts on the end times to publicly question whether or not the biblical prophecies concerning the end of days are beginning to come true. In an interview with FaithWire earlier this year, Greg Laurie, the pastor of Harvest Christian Fellowship in Riverside, California, brought up the words of Jesus found in Matthew 24. These words forewarn of wars, rumors of wars, plagues, and other calamities that will occur at the time leading up to the end of the world. According to Laurie, Jesus gave us signs of the times in the book of Matthew 24, and one of those indicators was that there will be wars and rumors of warfare. Number 2, there would be pestilence and plague. And if COVID is not a modern-day plague, I don't know what is. And it's touched the whole world, and it still affects us to this day. It absolutely matches that. Number 3, there would be famine. And number 4, there would be war. Although Laurie and others are being cautious when discussing these matters, the disarray, as well as these most recent developments with Russia and Iran, are adding gasoline to the fire, particularly regarding Ezekiel 38. What is Gog and Magog? In light of these occurrences and pronouncements, the question that immediately comes to mind is, why was Ezekiel 38 trending on Twitter? At the most fundamental level, the events described above capture the attention of Bible readers for fascinating reasons. In an interview that took place earlier this year on CBN's FaithWire, End Times author Jeff Kinley discussed Ezekiel 38, which he and others consider to be a prophecy that has not yet been fulfilled. Many people think that the prophecy about Gog and Magog in that chapter refers to Russia, and it's the one thing that ties everything together. There is widespread speculation that this Gog, or individual, will emerge as Russia's next ruler, thought to be Magog. According to Ezekiel, this Gog from Magog will attack Israel and other partner nations, including Persia, modern-day Iran, but God will intervene and win the battle against the coalition of nations. The next issue that naturally arises is why so many biblical scholars assume that Magog is Russia. Kinley elaborated on a few of the reasons, including the geographical positioning of the mountain and the scriptural references to compass points. Kinley elaborated by saying that from a biblical standpoint, anytime you have instructions given in the Bible, then you always start with Israel being kind of the center of the compass. And it speaks about these nations coming from the farthest reaches of the northern hemisphere. If you go in a northerly direction from Israel and continue in a straight line, you will end up in the middle of Russia. Author Joel Rosenberg is one of the people who have publicly investigated Old Testament predictions about the biblical end of days, including the possibility that Russia may play a role in the mix. A few years back, he wrote a piece on his blog in which he examined recent happenings in the globe and how they relate to the prophecies found in Ezekiel. The Hebrew prophet Ezekiel predicted that in the end days of history, Russia and Iran will create a military alliance to invade Israel from the north, Rosenberg wrote in his article. This prophecy was written over 2,500 years ago. This eschatological conflict is mentioned in Ezekiel 38-39, and biblical scholars refer to it as the War of Gog and Magog. He said, one day the future bad leader of Russia is going to ally with Iran, Turkey, and some other hostile countries to come and destroy Israel in the final days of the world. Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 14-16, taken out of context, says, Therefore, Son of Man, prophesy to Gog and say to him, This is what the Sovereign Lord says. In that day when my people Israel are living in safety, will you not take notice of it? You will arrive from your location in the far north, bringing with you many other nations, all of whom will be riding on horseback to form a massive horde and a powerful army. You will move forward against my people, Israel, like a cloud that obscures the landscape. In the days to come, God, I will pit you against my territory, so that the people of the world may recognize me when, through you, I am shown to be holy in front of them. You can learn a great deal more about Gog and Magog by reading the explanation that we have provided below. What do people think about this? Do tell us in the comment down below. If you enjoyed today's video, do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. In light of these biblical texts, texts that have already been getting increased scrutiny ever since the invasion of Ukraine, Putin's trip to Iran immediately sparked a plethora of speculation on Twitter, with Ezekiel 38 starting to trend as a result. This is because these biblical texts have already been getting increased scrutiny ever since the invasion of Ukraine. Some Christians believe that the recent summit between Iran, Russia, and Turkey is a sign that the prophecies will soon be realized. Others, on the other hand, have cast doubt on that premise and have contended that current events may be wrongly crammed into biblical prophecy. It is impossible to draw any clear conclusions from the discussions that Vladimir Putin had with Ali Khamenei, Ali Raisi, and Recep Tayyip Erdogan. It is easy to comprehend, in light of the available evidence, why Ezekiel 38 is garnering so much interest and why it is trending on various forms of social media. When it comes to the end of the world, however, Christians need to be very careful not to set any dates and not to make any statements that can be taken as fact. The situation in the Middle East has long been a powder keg, and Russia's activities in Ukraine have just ratcheted up the level of global disorder. And guys, that's all for today. We hope you really liked the video. If so, please click like and tell your family and friends about it. If you have any questions or thoughts, please leave them in the space provided below. Also, don't forget to follow our YouTube channel so you can see more of our amazing videos. You can also look at some of our other videos that were chosen just for you. We'll catch up in the next video.